This team never gives up. They haven't all year long, and you know that they won't here today. It'll be Greta Schlichter starting things off for Syracuse, freshman back row player from Latham, Germany. Great crowd on hand to wrap up the season. Dove on, bump set near side, Babcock, that one falls. First point of the day goes to Pitt.
Well, it shows us exactly why we highlighted Olivia Babcock coming in today. I mean, she puts that one in the back corner, pinpoint, first play of the game. She doesn't need much time to get warm.
341st kill of the year for the freshman. That'll be Valeria Vasquez-Gomez, redshirt senior. 12 kills 2 days ago against Miami. Here, Liedermuller back set to Lauren McCabe through the double block and tied up at one apiece.
And a good bounce back from Syracuse there. One of the things you want to really make sure, if we're talking about growth, because we come into this game, we're looking at a pretty slim chance to win for SU, and they're trying to find little things that you can improve on. Something like that and maintaining serve early on can really help the confidence of this team.
Fifth-year Lauren McCabe, fifth-year Alyssa Burt, one-hand save in the back row. Near side again, another freshman dug out by Burt. Free ball attempt by Schlichter. See if Pitt can capitalize. In the middle, they do. And that is a scary sight if you are Syracuse, because Emma Monks has been all over the floor for Pitt this
She
season.
has. Emma Monks, number 9 on this team, the grad student, and she won ACC Defensive Player of the Week earlier this year in September and played at Michigan State before she came here, and she's really stepped up and now into a feature role where she was playing at Michigan State, but all of a sudden she's one of the premier players in the country.
Yeah, she's hitting over 40% this year as Kat Flood sends it over for the Panthers. Liedermuller trying to catch Pitt lacking. Babcock gets into that one. It wasn't a full swing, but sometimes if you're Babcock, you can have that finesse game because the defense is expecting that fastball.
You put the topspin on that ball as well, and it makes it so hard to manage, and she has the ability to slow the game down at really such a high level for such a young player, which makes what she can do super impressive. Pitt up 3-1 early here.
Kat Flood, senior outside hitter, one of the best servers on this team. Somehow played in the middle. Zaria Harris-Waddy, that's going to be point for Syracuse off the violation.
Amy Klicko check back in on defense for Pitt now, and the serve goes back SU's way. And once again, as a head coach here, this is really something you want to look for. Maintaining serve. Can we get the ball back on our side so we're not having these big runs? If you can keep it within reason, you've always got a chance.
Tip over the block. The other freshman that we did not get to mention in the pregame, Tori Stafford, just really utilizing everything that this offense has to.
Yeah, Tori Stafford comes in 6'2", so another big player, and Pitt really has a big height advantage in this matchup as well. But you go look at her season, the only other player on this team over 300 kills. She's also got almost 100, or she's got almost 100 blocks as well. Also won ACC Freshman of the Week 2 times this year, so a whole lot of accolades to go around on this Pitt team. I mean, you look up and down the roster, and it's really, really impressive to see what they've done.
So missed that point. Olivia Babcock, see that high jump serve. Makes her one of most sought after in the country due to that topspin coming straight down. So hard to defend. Sierzan swings into one, got over, but a tip off the block. Coming around, falls right in the middle. Campfire, first kill of the day for Chiakma Wakolo.
Yeah, Chiamaka Wakolo, someone you're really going to have to watch out for Pitt. And we talked about slowing the game down, but Pitt does it. What Pitt does so well is the transition between playing slow and playing fast. They can speed up and adapt really well. You can see that they're comfortable doing that. And going back to head coaching, that's a credit to their head coach, Dan Fisher. He's implemented a program that they are very comfortable playing with. And they can turn things around when they need to. That is just ridiculous right there, Griffin. Oh my goodness.
Nothing that you can do if you're Sierzan there. Miscommunication in the back row, and Sierzan has a smile on her face, but when Babcock has that serve down, again, there is some room of difficulty in making sure that that angle is perfect every single time, but if you can get it down, very tough to stop. Sierzan. Hard serve, Sierzan, nothing that she can do. Back-to-back service aces now for Babcock.
Sierzan can't be too disappointed. If we go back to 2 plays ago there, she can't be too disappointed about that one. That's one that pretty much no one in the country right now is getting to.
So now 37 service aces on the season for Babcock. Does have 67 service errors, but that goes back to the difficulty of utilizing a jump serve like this. Goes to the rafters again. Now Melina Brooking called on a violation prior to the serve, so it's an automatic point for Pitt anyway. Now a large lead right now, 9-2 in favor of the Panthers.
So we talked about staying in the game, right? And that is something that just cannot happen against a team this talented. Because it doesn't matter whether you're playing the number 3 team in the country or playing the number 500 team in the country. When you're playing a team that is this competitive, such as Pitt, you have to avoid those simple mistakes or communication errors. And she's just pounding them in right now. I mean, that is... Griffin, we're maybe 10, 20 feet away. It is really a marvel to watch her serve.
10-2 is the score. Olivia Babcock going on a run all by herself. We'll step aside as...
Here early on, a little too much for Syracuse to handle.
Trying to go number 5, and Syracuse maybe utilizing that timeout at the proper time to get the ball back.
Absolutely, you got to disrupt that rhythm. I mean, it doesn't matter what the situation is. 5 straight service aces. As the head coach, you just have to do something to break up the string of play.
Veronica Searzant now trying to go back to work down 7, coming around on the slide, and whatever Pitt is trying to do right now, Luke, it's going right.
Yeah, it's the communication that they have. You can tell it's just a whole nother level. They're working with each other with these cues that you can see that they've practiced. Everything looks so well rehearsed.
Wakolo's second kill of the match. Back to another freshman. One close to the tape, winning the battle. Doesn't get any easier for Wakolo for back-to-back kills.
Those are the points that you have to take advantage of. I mean, this Pitt team is coming off of a sweep of Miami. This is not a bad Miami team by any stretch of the imagination. Only one of those was kept within single digits. That was the second set.
Tori Stafford over 300 kills in her freshman season. Long set by Zara Harris-Waddy, the middle blocker for SU. Now in the back row, Stafford straight down, dug out by Burt. Leader Mueller now back row for Searzant. Much needed point this would be for SU, but it's Babcock on the opposite side, bringing it up for the Panthers.
They know that they can go back to Babcock whenever they need to and at least guarantee them a tough defensive rotation on SU's side.
Stafford. Torrance, California. Long run, one-hand save, reaction time almost there for Greta Schlichter, and now a double-digit deficit for the Orange.
You talked about Stafford from California. Well, Babcock from California as well, Sierra Canyon High School graduate, and that's a lot of athletic talent coming out of there. Bronny James, son of LeBron James, the graduate as well.
Lisa Burt maybe didn't have to play that one, does anyway, and it was 9 service aces, the story in the win against Miami, none for the Hurricanes, and looking like that same discrepancy early on.
They've got a lot of talent, and they're just hitting the ball hard, but placing it well.
Now 5 service aces already for the Panthers. Played by Searzant. Trying to side out, Syracuse with the hard hit by Schlichter, playing out of position as a player on the pins, even though she's primarily a back row player.
Yeah, and a bit of a miscommunication there from Pitt. You expect them to say that one's going out. It looks way high all the way, but just kind of a panic mode moment there. Fortunately, Pitt has some points to play with at the moment.
Stafford, a 6 rotation type player. In the back row, obviously was serving there. Another hard hit, siding out with some ease there for Pitt. Vasquez Gomez, who has really been doing her thing in her redshirt senior season. 10 or more kills in 4 of the last 5 matches.
Well, it's like so many other players on this older Pitt team, they have a whole lot of playoff experience. They know how to play in big-time moments, and you mentioned Vasquez Gomez. She was in the preseason All-ACC. She's going to live up to that hype just like everyone else has on this team.
10 players who are upperclassmen on this Pitt team. One hand push by McCabe and more miscommunication. That's going to be 4 hits, and SU trying to just scratch and claw their way to get some more points.
That's how they have to do it right now, because Pitt obviously has the advantage when it comes to talent, but you need to make sure that you're making all those right fundamental plays if you want to stay in these matches.
Melina Brooking had some blocks against Georgia Tech on Sunday. Had to play in the front row. Only 7 players available right now for the Orange. Dug out by Searzant, long run, and Olivia Babcock can do it on the service line, but in her primary spot out on the outside, she can do pretty well over there too.
She sure can. I think she can make plays just about anywhere on the court. Back to Brooking for a moment. 12 digs this season as well. She had a season-high 5 last year against that same Miami squad we brought up a moment ago, so she's another person who can get it done in multiple facets.
Nice serve by Akeo. Set by Liedermuller, quick touch, goes over top of the block and out of play. Attacking error for McCabe, and now an 18-5 first set.
Just a little bit too strong there from McCabe, and we'll see it again right here. I think that's one of those moments where you're so desperate to get a point on the board that you think, oh, I got to put everything I got on this. It's a touch shot.
Sakeo from Hawaii. Sister is also in the program as an assistant coach and going over the top. So really right now, if you're Syracuse, you just feel like nothing's going right.
Yeah, and that's a tough point right there. I mean, it's splitting the middle of the line. They say that it was touched by SU illegally and goes back to Pitt, and we know how dangerous they are serving the ball as we've seen this entire set.
KO, second setter in this 5-1 formation, still sees a lot of time. That one hammered down by McCabe, and after a blunder attacking, maybe then getting caught over top of the net in Pitt territory, gets her second kill of the first set.
Yeah, going back, Lexis Akeo, who we saw serve the ball there, got her first start this year against Syracuse when they played at Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. That was in early October.
Quick set to the middle, Monks goes out of play, back-to-back points, the first time in quite a while for the Orange. Tough upward climb, but you just have to have a short mindset and continue to just go point after point and try to survive here in set number 1. Schlichter goes to Gomez. Just like they drew it up. The serve and pass game is so crucial for Pitt and what they want to do and go back to a Final Four and win a national championship. Defensively, this team is so stout.
Yeah, well, as good as this team is and as good as their ranking suggests, this is a team that they've ended their season with disappointment the last few years. Their goal is not just the Final Four. Their goal is to win a national championship, as you mentioned.
Vasquez Gomez, been a part of a lot of those teams. Quick set in the middle. It's been a lot of McCabe offensively for SU. Bump set, another hard hit. Liedermuller's there. Set by Burt, over to Searzant, and this is the second best blocking team in the nation. We haven't really had to see a lot of it due to some service aces on the Pitt end, but their timing is impeccable on the block.
Yeah, it really is, and we saw a series of blocks there. McCabe got one off that was really good. It allowed SU to reset, but then Olivia Babcock, I believe, now over 100 blocks on the season.
Babcock, as well as Monks, two of their top blockers on this Panther roster, and you see Monks in the middle. She's tied for second in the country with over 1.5 blocks per set.
That's pretty good, Griffin.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
So another timeout, second util.
Nebraska, Wisconsin, Louisville, and Pitt. And Pitt was a very good defensive team that year, as you mentioned, but not a team that had a whole ton of attacking prowess. That was their downfall because these other teams were more well-rounded. Well, now they've brought in these freshmen, but they also have the plethora of Final Four experience, and it's such a good combination. Excited to see where this team's going to go.
It's a great mix, and trying to have at least a share of an ACC title with a win here today. Searzant, full aggressive swing, coming out of the break. Hard hit in the middle by Flood. Back to Searzant. Another hard block, 50-50 ball that goes off the antenna. Played with the left hand by Searzant, point Pitt.
You mentioned that ACC, and Florida State, the team that they're competing for that share of the title with, that's the only ACC team Pitt has lost to all season. And they lost to Louisville earlier, but picked up a win in a reverse sweep not too long ago. So
that was also on the road. They thought that ball was going to be out. Schlichter played it anyway. Searzant, main target, was out of play, trying to go for the line hit and just missed by the freshman.
Pressure's on now if you're SU. Try and battle back, and we'll see this one more time. So close, but those margins, I mean, that's the difference when you come down to it.
String of points now for Vasquez Gomez. 23-7. Long run for Liedermuller, going to the primary option, Searzant, and the block is sniffing it out of Pitt. Another hard hit in the middle, Kat Flood. We haven't seen her play a lot in the front row. She has a great role on the service line, but in a chance like this, you get to mix a little bit more of those players into your rotation.
Kat Flood, really not someone who we see going for kills much at all, but I mean, she looks like a seasoned vet out there on that play. Oh my goodness.
Set point here for Pitt. Vasquez-Gomez sails it, barely goes out. That would have been the 6th service ace of this first set alone. Instead, Syracuse has a chance.
Dangerous to let that one go like that. I mean, you're inches away from potentially losing the first set. Pretty surprising. You don't see anyone go for it, but ends up going your way.
Alyssa Burke. In her 5th season with the program, that's going to wrap up set number 1 in dominating fashion for the number 3 team in the country. 25-8 winners here inside the women's building on the road. We'll be
cocked. They were just too overwhelming in that first set. So for SU, if you're going to battle back, you know that she's going to continue to be phenomenal. You just want to minimize those avoidable mistakes as you move forward.
Olivia Babcock had 8.5 points responsible for. That's more than Syracuse scored in the first set. Went 4 for 6 in her attack attempts, 4 aces and a block assist. It's going to be Alexis Akeo, came in as a server. Primarily we see in that normal setter's role. Rachel Fairbanks, that one awkward angle, and first blood again for Pitt.
Veronica Searzant trying to go back over top the net there, and a little bit of a touch play, doesn't quite work out.
Akeo already 10 assists in the early going. Long run, she gets the dig. Bump set, long hit in by Babcock. It's in the air for forever. Searzant swings away. Back and forth now defensively, these teams are going at it. Look at the play on the backside for Syracuse to keep it alive. In the middle, it's like maybe a net hit there. Instead, it's going to be a kill for Emma Monks.
Yeah, and you can see Emma Monks feeding off the energy of that point. She's not intimidated by the fact that SU's keeping in a ball that's going over to the bench, making a great defensive play. She's saying, come on, let's go, and then she slams it down.
And McClicka makes some nice plays. Liedermuller, Schlichter, everybody doing their thing now. Trying to clean it up on the defensive end of the floor. Syracuse does just that. Zaria Harris-Waddy with the kill in the middle. Another impact freshman who is the only player on this team with 86, now 87 sets played. Brooking off the mark. Another service error for the Orange, still trying to get their first service ace.
One of the things that's so striking about the way that Pitt blocks, those blocks are so dominating. They're not just coming up, they're coming almost over with the way that their fingers are bent, and it's like, there's nowhere to go.
Vasquez-Gomez closed it to end the first set. Off the top of the tape, dive by Brooking. Schlichter runs into it, tip off the block, long run. Akeo, Babcock. It's just instant offense if you set it to number 5.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a repeat of that first set. Babcock sets that play up. She realizes that Pitt's maybe providing a little, or Syracuse rather, providing a little bit more defensive pressure in this second set, and you can kind of go to her and have that confidence that you're going to get something.
And almost a knuckler to Burt in the back row, and overpowering Monks in the middle as a freshman in Harris-Waddy.
Pitt playing really aggressive defense there. Moved a lot of bodies forward, and they're not really worried right now about Syracuse going to the back of the court, but right there, a nice play to do exactly that.
Oh, sorry, Harris-Waddy, she's standing on the service line, didn't have a ball to hit. That's why we were hearing some excessive whistling right in front of us by our up referee. Harris-Waddy, most service aces on this team, but very aggressive, trying to pick apart that back line, and goes a tad too far.
Harris-Waddy, another freshman that's really featured on this team. We brought up Searzant, and it's, I mean, for Pitt, it's a completely different situation because you have freshmen stepping up, and wow, they're leading the team in kills. For Syracuse, it's you have freshmen leading the team in kills because you haven't had someone else step up.
They have 4 freshmen in their starting lineup, 3 of them not in position. Griffin serve, hard one. Searzant through the double block, and you really want to start to see her get going as she has her first kill. Had 5 attack errors in the first set.
Griffin, you talked about how Syracuse has several players playing out of position. There was a point this season where they had no players starting playing in position. That's got to be so tough on the morale of a team that's already struggling.
Passing game is so good and crisp on this Pitt team, and hammering it down. Tori Stafford for now her 3rd kill of the match.
That was a broken play. That was a play that was not going the way Pitt wanted it to, and you see them recover so quickly. That's another thing that makes them so versatile.
Very difficult set there by Akeo, and still somehow getting it to the pin. Hard serve, now back-to-back service errors for Olivia Babcock.
You can see Babcock kind of shake her head there after that serve, and disappointed that she makes another mistake there. Certainly not something that she's accustomed to throughout her first year at the collegiate level.
When her body goes back, when that momentum's going away from the volleyball, that's when you're more prone to those errors on the service line. Somehow Klicka played that and got it up. One-hand save by Burke. Syracuse trying to regroup. Pitt hammers away through everybody, and that fastball, when it's a full swing, Stafford using her momentum. Same thing as Babcock. There's just really nothing you can do.
Yeah, we're going to see it again. And so much experience on this Pitt team. You look around the roster, and someone like Chiamaka Wokolo, she's a grad student, but she's been at Pitt all 5 years. She has so much playoff experience.
Trying to help out her teammates and pick who you want on the bins for Pitt. That time it was Valeria Vasquez-Gomez. We've seen her do her thing on the service line, but that's primarily what she's here to do. Yeah,
Vasquez-Gomez hits 190 kills on the season as a redshirt senior.
8-4, Syracuse still trying to keep in it, and when Lauren McCabe has found her groove coming around as a middle on the right side of the slide, she has been pretty effective.
McCabe at Seattle University before heading to Syracuse, and she started every single match and played every single set in her senior year. So a really vital part of their team, moves into the Power 5, and she still looks pretty comfortable.
86 blocks last year, a Seattle U record. 110 career matches under her belt. We're seeing some other players get into rotation on the Pitt side. Juliana Dalton, junior outside hitter from Parker, Colorado.
Yeah, going back to Vasquez-Gomez real quick, you know she wants to hit that 200 mark in the regular season. I'll bet you she and coach are going to have a few words about that.
Super close to that marker in her redshirt season. Back for Klicka. Klicka goes long. She's had a lot of sprawling saves with 4 digs already in the match, and starting to now rack up some service errors.
Yeah, SU doing a good job of capitalizing off of some of those unforced errors that we saw from the Orange in that first set.
And SU gives it right back as Liedermuller does the same. 10-6 still in reach for Syracuse. A team that never gives up, and throughout all the trials and tribulations that this season has had for SU, how their players are still up. You see Searzant clapping right there. They still have the right mindset, and when so much goes wrong, it does make things difficult for morale.
Oh, it certainly does. And I mean, you know, at this point of the season, you have no chance at postseason play, but just trying to find positives wherever you can at this point of the year.
Nothing that Liedermuller can do, as it was played right underneath the net, so Pitt expands on their lead, as back to the top of the rotation with Alexis Akeo. Akeo sends it over, pass off the mark, and Liedermuller, same thing. Don't know how she played that ball and kept it in, but the kill after having 5 against Georgia Tech on Sunday, she gets her first.
Those are the mistakes that, or rather Syracuse does win that point. Wow, I didn't even realize until we look up at the scoreboard, but a pretty impressive turn there.
Brooking hammers one into the net. Now those points that you'd like to have back when you look back after this match is over in the second set. Service errors, name of the game, and SU struggling with them thus far.
Yeah, Griffin, you hit the nail on the head earlier because you're getting those unforced errors, but then you're giving those points right back. And that's not what a team that wins does.
Valeria. Back set, Searzan. Really want to start to get her going. Monk stuck up. That's a solo block in the middle. Freshman, Ari Harris-Waddy, such a fun player, and we're going to see a whole lot of her moving forward for the rest of her tenure with the Orange.
Yeah, Harris-Waddy, one of the real bright spots on this team. That ball goes up. Pitt shows a real show of stick-to-itiveness to keep that ball alive for a moment, but not enough.
Wicca goes sprawling out. Stafford tip off the block, saved by Schlichter. Stuck up. Long run, two-hand push by Harris-Waddy, still out of rotation, out of system for Pitt. Another set by Liedermuller, Searzan, tip off the block again. Long set over and winning the battle. A KO to Stafford, and looks like now in set 2, it's the Stafford set.
Yeah, and out of system plays on both sides, as you mentioned, but then all of a sudden you just see the power start to overwhelm SU, and that's really where they're overmatched in this game.
Back into the match, Dylan Griffin, 5'8" sophomore, back row player. Love the last name personally. Other one right at the tape, and second time today that we've seen Wakolo have those 50-50 balls, easy kill opportunities.
Yeah, they bounce back very nicely, and Pitt looks a little bit out of sorts to begin this set, but I think they just have that calmness and such confidence in each other that they can bounce back from pretty much anything. I mean, we go back to that Louisville match where they did turn that reverse sweep to get the win.
Making it closer for SU now. It's a 5-point set as they've scored more points than they did in the first set, so those small victories continuing to rack up for SU.
The difference here is, can they take advantage of them?
Want to just have that throughout and a little bit more consistency if you're SU. They've shown the bright spots. Back row hit by Brooking. Not mostly an intended hitter in those situations. And we will have our 15-point break midway through the match. 6-point lead for Pitt. So we'll take a break on ACC Network Extra. And have went on this crazy run.
Yeah, Pitt has struggled in the middle sets at times. That's where they've given away some of their games, but stuck to the task really well so far today.
And Schlichter goes through the block. Schlichter. Two-hand hit. Liedermuller can't get there in time, and second kill now for Dalton. Haiti Tohua'a, freshman setter. First time on the service line for Pitt. Number 3 in the country. Really doing their thing in the ACC. Back set, Stafford straight down. Alyssa Burt, she's been there, but it's just been a tick off on some of those sliding opportunities to try to get the digs in the back row.
Yeah, and it's just because of that power that we referenced earlier. Go back to Tawatuawa, the #1 recruit out of Hawaii last year. So Pitt's recruiting reach far and wide, all the way over to as far west as you can get in the United States.
You have to think maybe a KO played a role in that, also being from Hawaii in her 5th year. Same position, now trying to take those reins after she leaves. Near side, Schlichter straight down to the hardwood. Juliana Dalton there, but that one all Wakolo in the middle.
That is the advantage as well of having
now 11 years with Pitt, 280 wins, 64 losses, and during his tenure, what he does in ACC play specifically, it's so impressive as one of the deeper conferences in the entire.
Yeah, just 1 loss last season in conference play, only 2 this year, and looking to make it 2 for the season tonight.
Team that's 10-2 on the road, highlighted by that win against Louisville to jump over them into national rankings, and coming out of the timeout, another kill for Wakolo.
And people are taking notice of this team as well. You go back to that Louisville game you mentioned in Pittsburgh. That game set the record for Pitt volleyball attendance.
Right.
8,800, over 8,800 in attendance there at the Peterson Event Center where the basketball team plays.
The hard serve, 10-point lead now for Pitt. Searzant gets a much-needed one for the Orange, and now double digits for SU.
Reaching double digits got to feel good. You want to make sure that you're at least keeping these competitive when you look at the final score. Moving forward, that's a big confidence boost as well.
Britta Schlichter, 1 kill on the day. It's earlier back in the first set. Running into that one, look at the block. Lauren McCabe potentially will be her last match of collegiate volleyball as a 5th year. What she's done for this program has been remarkable, so it's great to see her have success today.
6'2" middle blocker, Lauren McCabe, as you mentioned. We already talked about how she came over from Seattle, but yeah, it does a really strong job there, and someone to look to for the younger players on this team.
Does a great job on the block there, making it easier for Schlichter. First set, that one close to the tape doesn't matter, because when you're an athlete like Tori Stafford, things mostly work in your favor. That one was called out, but still, even to be able to play that ball is an accomplishment in itself.
Yeah, I mean, to touch that one around the antenna is basically impossible, so as you mentioned, to get it back over, a pretty impressive feat in itself.
SU starting to find their groove until that hit. Oh my! Chiama Wakolo, that ball almost bounced back and hit the roof.
Yeah, Wakolo is a pure power player, and we really saw that on display. That is Pitt's bread and butter right there, is powerful volleyball. That's how they're gonna win games. They're gonna intimidate you and overpower you.
25 kills, hitting 41%. A nice hard hit there by McCabe. Vasquez Gomez, another chance for SU, 50-50. The SU block starting to look pretty strong. Back row hit on the roll shot. Still in system though for Pitt. Vasquez Gomez, one-hand save, almost a pancake by Veronica Searzant, and even when Pitt's on the ropes, they still somehow find a way to get points.
That's another trait that I think Dan Fisher has really tried to implement into this team and make it part of their DNA is, you know, we don't give up on points, because in the past they weren't always able to outskill everyone.
Ray Stafford, reigning player of the week, freshman of the week. Been a great all-around player in the second set. Full swing again. And Vasquez Gomez starting to fill up the stat sheet, 6 for 7 in her attack opportunities.
And going back to that mentality we talked about a moment ago, as we head to a timeout here, that is something that when you have someone like Wakolo, who's been...
has told me multiple times that it's going to make these players better, the freshmen that are playing out of position, to be more versatile for the rest of their college careers.
Oh, you see the court from different eyes.
It's a 10-point lead for Pitt. Stafford serve intended for Melina Brooking. Stuck up in the middle. Brooking now hitting in the front row with the rotation. Again, not what she's normally there for. Only one player available on the bench right now, Harris Waddy, sitting on the bench. So you have to go with who you have on the floor.
It's a small roster. There's no other way around it.
Brooking denied. Stafford again. Leader Mueller, awkward set. Dug out by Stafford. Vasquez Gomez finds the corner. What a beautiful precision hit.
Yeah, I know we talked about Olivia Babcock coming in, but Valeria Vasquez Gomez might be the best player in this game at the moment. The way she is hitting the ball, and she just looks so in rhythm, never out of position, and this Pitt team is so organized.
Just playing to their strengths. Set point again for the Panthers. Number 3 team in the country. Back row hit. Flicka digs it. Another tip over, and it's been the fastball, some off speed, and it is working for Pitt all across the board on the pins.
Sure, she wants to up that total a little bit in the final set, so it can be dangerous when you're playing a team that is this good, but also maybe has a little bit of motivation in the sense of Babcock trying to bounce back from that last set.
Olivia Babcock against Miami 2 days ago. 3 sets, 15 kills, 25 attempts. And when I talked to Coach Dan Fisher about her and how rare it is for a freshman to be as dominant as she had, he told me it was shocking. She's been so consistent and was maybe a high error player when he scouted her, but how efficient she is the real key for Babcock being such a great player, and it's almost like I drew that one up as she gets the opening kill in the third set.
Yeah, just 4 away now from 350 kills on the season, and it really is that consistency that's so impressive, because I think you see plenty of high school players all around the country that have, you know, an endless amount of talent, but she does it every single night, which is what, as you mentioned, Fisher is so impressed with this season. And I mean, this is just her freshman year. Like, she's got 3 more of these, and she's only going to keep getting better.
Dylan Griffin, 7 service aces on the year. How about we make it 8?
Yeah, that's a bit of a sloppy play from SU there. You may have to make sure that you're positioned correctly when that serve's coming over, and quickly breaks down. And yeah, there you go. They're really playing to your notes so far in this final set.
They're listening to me. Maybe it's the research I do. I don't know, but might have to go to the casino if I keep it up like this. 2-0 lead to open things up for Pitt. Another knuckler. Received well by Schlichter. Left-hand hit by Harris-Waddy. Now Babcock. Mueller near side. Brooking. Brooking thought that she got a tip. She does. Melina Brooking, small in stature at 5'7", but her first kill of the match.
Yeah, she breaks in. A sophomore who had 12 digs. Mainly, that's what she mainly goes for. Has 85 on the year, 4 blocks, but she goes up, working around. Another player playing out of position, as we've talked about so often, but making it happen off the block.
Now she sends it over. Near side, Stafford, dug out by Brooking. Bump set by Liedermuller, back row hit by Searzan. Going for a spill was in the back row, and Olivia Babcock already 2 kills in the early going.
That just goes back to what we saw in the first set, where she is overpowering her opponents. We'll see it again one more time, and it's that top spin that is so deadly. I mean, you see that ball is almost knuckling when it's set, as it should be, and then she just puts so much spin on that ball along with the velocity. It's nothing you can do on the defensive end.
Now we get to see her serve, probably my favorite thing, and ooh, that one was really close.
Yeah,
I don't have the greatest view from here, but still, that one about as close as you can.
I thought that was on the line when I saw it with my eyes. I would not be surprised if they say something, but it looks like we're going to play on.
Thinking about maybe pulling out the challenge card. Coach Fisher decides not to, and now he can with Harris-Waddy. Hard hit by Stafford and went through the middle, almost too much of a gap between Searzan and McCabe.
Yeah, these 2 freshmen are so overwhelming. Stafford, another All-American in high school, named to the Under Armour All-American team, and translated that success so well to the collegiate level. I think that's something in all sports that you see athletes struggle with, but not so much on this Pitt squad.
Received by Burt. Schlichter. One-hand save by Klicka. Her 6th dig already, and that leads to instant offense, but Brooking putting on a display. Near side, Pitt gets the point anyway. Nice kill by Blair Bayless, another freshman for this Panther team.
Power, power, and more power. It goes down, they smack it. It's an incredibly hard hit, and then it comes back across. They get reset so quickly, and then just another high velocity hit that gets the job done.
Blair Bayless has only played 28 sets now on this season. Still has done fairly well offensively from Plano, Texas. Smelled out by Searzan. Schlichter again, cross court. Great awareness to really turn her body around and register the kill.
That's so hard because you're going against all your momentum, and you expose Blair Bayless on that far side. Number 8, who you mentioned a moment ago, and unfortunately for the Panthers, Klicka can't get up fast enough.
It almost got sucked in too far. Dug out again. Nice hit by Kat Flood. Straight down, and well, making up for maybe her defensive error, Blair Bayless. I would just love to just watch a practice for Pitt. Everybody hit and see how beautiful in motion that can be.
I mean, you mentioned 27 sets played so far for Bayless this year, but she's done really well when she has played, averaging over 1.5 kills per set, and her best performance this year, 8 kills against Syracuse.
And some other players involved before the NCAA tournament. Flood in the back row. Another hit for Stafford as now she has 7, tied up with her freshman teammate Olivia Babcock, but still awaiting the redshirt senior in Valeria Vasquez Gomez with 8. It's a pretty good trio though at the top, having 8, 7, and 7. Good distribution. You're not just going to one sole player on the pin. Mueller on the slide, blocked and out. Syracuse registers another point, making it a 3-point game.
Keeping things close in this third set. That was not something that they did last time these two teams clashed. I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, but just 2 more points and they'll actually equate their total from that final set in Pittsburgh.
Schlichter gave Stafford some trouble, still in system near side, and 3rd kill in this sequence, really, for Bayless.
Yeah, Bayless has that great length, and you know, as a freshman on a team that has seen so many freshmen feature as the star players, I mean, she stands at 6'2". She would be the 2nd tallest player on SU's squad.
Akeo back in for Pitt. Set was off the mark, does a little bit of plinko and finds the middle of the court. So another kill for Lauren McCabe, trying to make her impact felt with a team high 6 kills in 12 tries.
She has made her impact felt in this one, and once again, a nice heads-up play. Not an incredibly organized set that, or point there, and she recovers nicely.
Alyssa Burt already 8 digs as Syracuse's libero. Oh my goodness. We have seen Olivia Babcock fly through the heavens continuously. That might be the best one.
Yeah, she gets up there so fast and so high as well. I mean, it's as impressive to watch as almost anything in athletics, to be quite honest with you. The way that has so much power so quickly.
Long set for Mueller and another block. In the middle, Emma Monks with the rejection.
Babcock in there with that block as well. They combine and, you know, doing it all at the moment. That's what good players do, and goes over to that right side. They get so quick. She uses that left hand as a right-handed player.
Served by Logan Mosley, long run. Lena Brooking, the intended target again, and just showing the limited options that Syracuse has right now when you're continuing to set a 5-7 player in Power Alley, and an early timeout for Syracuse, an 11-5 game, 8-12-5 so far in the match. It's been a great sequence for Olivia Babcock. It's really limited in the second set, but it's been all number 5. Isn't set there, Monk is anyway. Whistle was called, and it was going to be a Pitt point anyway.
Griffin, in that break there a moment ago that we went through in the timeout, they had Sweet Caroline playing, and you saw these Pitt players singing along, chanting "Let's go Pitt" in between at the break, and I think that just shows you how loose this team is right now. They're having so much fun, and pretty solid cheering section for the Panthers as well, joining in with them.
A lot of fans here, but many of them coming down from PA. Big swing by Zaria Harris-Waddy, and that gets the crowd into it and the bench.
Yeah, it got loud in here for a second there, and a nice resilient point, trying to get the team back in this third set and take away what they can from one of the toughest matches of the season.
Zaria Harris-Waddy, 3 kills and 8 total attempts. Goes long by Mira Liedermuller. Syracuse still looking for their first ace on the day, and they have 6 service errors.
Yeah. Liedermuller, one of 2 players from Germany on this team, and along with her teammate Schlichter, played on the U16 German national team together. So we talked a little bit earlier about that Hawaii connection, maybe get some players in. There's a little bit of a German connection on this SU squad.
Syracuse has great connections internationally in volleyball, multiple foreign players on their roster. Lefty Griffin. Searzant gets her feet underneath her. Long run dug out by Griffin. A free ball attempt. Mosley sprawled out by Schlichter. It's going to be a point for Pitt, very late, but it's going to be a violation on Harris Waddy, almost palming that ball over.
Yeah, she goes up there, and the illegal play, as you mentioned. Pitt gets the point, goes up 8. You got to think you got to get a point here in these next 2 if you're SU.
It was a 4-point game at one point before the timeout. Since then, it's been all Pitt. Searzan runs into it. Still played by Mosley. Near side, Stafford. Another kill. Tied for the team high.
Right on the line there. And, oh, that was precision. You go up with so much power. And Tori Stafford, yeah, she's had an amazing day. It's really a double threat. I think maybe Stafford gets overshadowed by how good Babcock is, but Stafford's still working with over 300 kills this season.
And Vasquez Gomez as well. All 3 are tied with 8 kills for the team high. Trying to get the lead, but it's Burt taking it out. Almost double digits. Elena Brooking goes long, and it also needs to be mentioned, Luke, that we have not seen Rachel Fairbanks, the traditional setter for this Pitt team, has the day off. Second team preseason all ACC. She's 4th in the conference with just about 10 assists per set.
You mentioned preseason all ACC. Well, she was 3rd team All-American last year as well. So someone who they have a lot of confidence in. And as you mentioned, getting the day off in this final regular season clash.
It's always the great combination is trying to go for the near side corner. Saw the idea by Olivia Babcock, wasn't executed, as never went over.
That's a tough play. Out of system once again, and a quick recovery attempt, but not a whole ton you can do. A lot of the times, those plays are kind of up to lock.
Lena Brooking and has to do a little bit more than she usually does, coming off the bench in the back row. Then you have to see hard hits like that coming your way, as first 1 to 10 kills for Pitt goes the way of Tori Stafford. Now it's Babcock. We all get to see her serve potentially for the last time inside the women's building. 5 straight wins for Pitt.
Interested to see if she can overcome her serving woes from the second set, and it looks like she did. I don't know about you, but looks like she got it.
Has it right back down, had 3 straight service errors after having those 4 aces, so sometimes you have to take the good with the bad. Has it back down, takes a second to collect herself. 5 service aces on the day. Hard hit in the middle, so they'll go 1 for 1, and it's a 10-point Syracuse deficit.
The success that this team has really does free them up to play, you know, kind of with fun and joy as well. And speaking on Pitt, because they are so successful, they have time to make mistakes as these freshmen in games like this.
She's blocked there. Big rejection, Lauren McCabe. Greta Schlichter also in the picture.
And in playing what's likely their final set of the season, they're keeping the spirits high, still celebrating after every point. You don't see them with their heads down, so that's certainly an encouraging sign as far as morale goes.
Lauren McCabe just had senior day last week against Boston College. Her and Alyssa Burt were recognized. Syracuse's 2 lone quote-unquote seniors in their 5th year after the attack error by Veronica Searzan. They're just one of 4 teams in the country without a true senior on their team. The other ones being Baylor, another great program ranked in the country, Cal Poly, and then my alma mater, Canisius University out in Buffalo. Here, Liedermuller, back set to Searzan, tip off the block, great play in the back row, one-hand save, and Pitt keeps it alive. Set in the middle. Some days, everything's going right, and it appears to be one of them for Pitt, but still getting the point. SU somehow comes away with it, and Veronica Searzan, you could tell she was so upset after it never hit the floor because that was an unreal play in the back row.
Cat Flood, I believe, getting over there. Yes, it was, and that was fantastic work from the senior. We talked about the more experienced players on both sides. Pitt has a lot of that experience. It shows right there in a gritty, tough play. Now she's going to go back to serve.
Back to a 10-point game after the service error by Searzant. Kat Flood, Illinois native. Greta Schlichter's had her body all over the floor today. Tries to win a 50-50 ball. Two back row players going for it. Three players, Melina Brooking, keeping it alive. Another block, and SU has a little bit of mojo going.
It's a block party right now in the 3-1-5 for SU. 2 out of the last 3 real nice blocking plays from the Orange, and looking pretty dire, but that's something to build off of for sure going forward.
Lauren McCabe with another block. It's been a day that she will remember, with it being her final match.
And what a game it's been. She's made it one to remember.
Greta Schlichter to a 9-point deficit. Pitt comfortable with the lead, but Syracuse starting to build some momentum after the one-hand save by Burt. Burt now 11 digs. Easy for Babcock. Near side again, the tip, one-hand save by Searzant. Sprawling out again. 3-ball attempt, we'll see if Syracuse can capitalize. Coming around on the slide. One-hand save by Babcock. What a sequence. That one goes out. Great play again by McCabe. Burt made a few nice plays, and SU starting to find their groove.
A little bit of a run here going on for the Orange, and yeah, and it's really come through those gritty, tough plays. I mean, you know, as an SU player, that's how you're going to tough out points if you are going to win matches in the future.
Received well, quick set to the middle. Monk one-hand save, and it's going to be a violation on Lauren McCabe. She's not a fan of the call.
Should be mentioned as well, Pitt playing with all reserves at the moment now, with just a few points away from victory.
It'll be Alexis Akeo. Send things home for Pitt. Number 3 team in the country. Through the block, Veronica Searzant. Now 4 kills in 29 total attack attempts. Melissa Burt, haven't been able to talk about her enough today and the impact she's had in this program after 3 years at Colorado State. Her 2nd year with SU, the true captain and leader of this group. Sends it into the net, making it a 22-13 third set.
And Griffin, just as I mentioned that, Olivia Babcock checking back in for Pitt. So they're trying to close it out, just 3 points away, and they put their best player back on the floor.
Logan Mosley, 5th year, transferred in from Virginia Tech, so stayed in the ACC. He's had a few serves today. Bump set goes over and out of play. Greta Schlichter couldn't believe that her pass was that far off the mark. Timeout by Syracuse, just to corral things together for the last time this season.
You know, the SEC as a big player, also the Big 12 with Texas, who's a perennial program that has a whole ton of success, but I mean, the ACC certainly has something to say about that.
And then you have the Big 10 with Nebraska.
Of course,
Pac-12, it's all across the map. But for this conference, no tournament, meaning that these 2 teams, after the regular season, they're done regardless. But so many automatic bids for the ACC because of that caliber of play that these teams play weekend in, weekend out. And getting those automatic bids. And this year, upwards to maybe 6 or 7 automatic bids. They'll be dancing in the NCAA tourney.
And you see Miami right on that line, team that Pitt just beat on Wednesday night.
Blocked by Monk in the middle. It hit the back of Liedermuller, and we're at match point. Trying to have another sweep after sweeping Miami. Had that reverse sweep at home against Louisville. Then they were on the road, 3-set victory against Georgia Tech.
That one's real impressive.
And
that is a real impressive.
That's when I think the rest of the NCAA really started to take notice about Pitt's here to stay. The fans and Pitt are ready to go. Brooking, tip over the top. Babcock trying to send it home. The freshman does, and congratulations to the Pitt Panthers. They'll have at least a share of an ACC regular season title.
And get the celebrations going for the Panthers, as you mentioned.
चल के बाद बंदे के
भोला समय पे से भमिया तोहार सिर्फ संडे के बुझो जी अब करे हमारे इंतजार पिसन संडे के सुन
बाटे तो मंडे